I'd be better off without you. There's too many people around you, and all these vultures that surround you, they don't know a thing about you. You're so gorgeous, 'cause you make me feel gorgeous. Ooh, you're so gorgeous, 'cause you make me feel gorgeous.
Welcome everybody to Club Dead Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and to day 105 of one team not having a manager, and just another day for us to bask in the glory of Rangers being the champions. So we are here to discuss some Rangers news and to go over some listeners' questions this week. I am your host, Scott Carney, and joining me in a new look video for people that are watching us on YouTube. First of all, it's Ali Pearson. How's it going, mate?
Not too bad. How we doing, lads?
Scott Gemmell, how's things, mate?
Hi guys. Good to be back after a wee hiatus last week.
Yes, a wee hiatus, if that's what you want to call it. And Jamie Lowe, how's it going, mate?
Very well, mate. How's things?
Yes, good, mate. As you say, for people watching on YouTube, you will see it's a wee bit different. We've upgraded a wee bit. For people listening to us on Spotify and Apple, I'd imagine it looks and sounds exactly the same as it always did. But yeah, just something new for us, kind of to enjoy, if you like. So first of all, before I get into it, I just want to say a massive thank you to Stu from Art of Gold, who's provided the new backdrop for the podcast. For people listening, you'll be able to see the artwork on the pod. I've also used one of the artworks that Stu's done. His stuff is absolutely brilliant. It really is. He's a very talented boy, and he kindly provided us with a few pictures, and he's shown some great support to us. So I'll leave a description for the Art of Gold website in the description for this podcast. Go check it out. Honestly, stuff is absolutely brilliant, and we really do thank him for the support, and hopefully we will have him on the pod soon. Fingers crossed anyway. But yeah, it's going to be busy over summer, so get your orders in as quickly as you can. So the music for today's podcast was Glorious by Ash and Nala. That was picked by me, and the reason I picked it was on Steven Gerrard's Instagram post when they put up a compilation of all the kind of goals that we've scored this year, and they just did the wee emoji with the two stars in it, and I think he's missing Rangers as much as we are. But yeah, that's why I picked it. If it's good enough for the gaffer, it's good enough for me. Do you like that? Ali, you won't like that kind of music, surely?
It's all right. I've not heard that one before. I was thinking it's definitely not Scotia that picked that, so I ruled him right out of the equation. But it was quite good, to be fair. I mean, Gerrard brought us the other song when he was driving into Ibrox, which is an absolute nailer. I've listened to that umpteen times. But good to be tune.
No, I'm glad you liked it, mate. I've introduced it to Jamie earlier on in the week. Scott's probably not your bag, that, is it?
It's easy listening kind of stuff. I wouldn't go out my way to buy it or anything, but that's what it is.
But, yeah, that's the reason that I picked that. You'll get to pick a tune soon, Scott, if you're not taking a hiatus anytime soon. You'll be able to pick a tune, mate. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get into Rangers news, gentlemen. And there is only one place to start. The news we've probably been waiting for since the season ended is that Jermaine Defoe has signed a new player/coach deal with Rangers. He said in his Instagram post, "Since I joined Rangers in 2019, I never expected to fall in love the way I done. This is not only a great club, but a British institution. I want to thank the gaffer, our chairman and the board for this opportunity. I cannot wait to get started for the club's 150th year, forever ready." Ali, I'll come to you first. I don't think there's any Rangers fan out there that's not delighted about this.
No, it's brilliant news. I was working when it came through, and I stuck up my Instagram post because I know how to work Instagram now after years and years. Put the DJ Otzi song in the background. So I enjoy singing that song with Jermaine Defoe. So I've got another year at least singing it. But no, to be fair, I think he's been working behind the scenes coaching. I don't think this is new to him. I think he was doing that last year. It makes sense to have him around. He's an ideal replacement if we get hammered with injuries next season at one point to bring in. I doubt he'll play many games next season, but you can see he's now staging his career going into the coaching side of the game, and what a guy to learn from. We've got Fashion Sakala coming in as well, and he's been waxing lyrical about Rangers in every post I've seen him interviewed, and he's another guy that can learn off Defoe. You've seen the improvement in Morelos the last couple of seasons with Defoe being there. So no, it's all positive.
Yeah, Scotia, Defoe's record really speaks for itself for Rangers. His stats are pretty unbelievable, as to be expected for a guy of his quality. But are you happy enough with Defoe staying on?
Oh, I'm delighted. I mean, what are his stats? Is it like 32 goals and 76 appearances or something?
Aye, and not all of them are starts.
Yeah, so that's unbelievable. But I was delighted when it got confirmed, because there was a wee bit of concern that he would want to go away and get more minutes somewhere else, because I think he would. I know there was rumours kicking about that obviously Sunderland were potentially looking at him, and he's got obviously big connections down there as well from previously playing. But I was delighted when it got confirmed that he was staying on for a year and in that player coach role. And Ali's right, there was that picture that was kicking about earlier in the season with him and the whiteboard, and Aribo and Kamara and stuff were around about there as well. So he's a perfect role model to have around the club. He speaks really highly of Rangers, and he's one of these players that I don't think he's saying it because he's there. I think he's always kind of viewed Rangers as being a big club. You know, he's a very, very intelligent football type of guy, that he knows how big a club Rangers are, and you can see he's delighted to be here, and really happy that he's signed on for that year and pass on his experience.
Yeah, I think the way he speaks about Rangers and everything, I think as well, this has been a long career for him, and this is his first league title that he's ever won. I mean, he deserves it. I mean, of course he does. And then obviously we see the video and we're going to give him the medal and the shirt to his mum, which just, I mean, melts your heart. I mean, I'm all for stuff like that. I'm like, yes, sign me up for more of that. But Jamie, there's not any more really to add about the praise that we all have for Defoe.
Similar thoughts. Very, very, very good news. I wasn't sure whether we were going to extend it or not. He has. I've had to bide his time, but you can see he's a really fantastic influence on the full squad. As you said, the influence in Morelos this year. He just seems to be a really great member of the squad. And again, we've spoke about the environment of that team. And he adds to it. It's good to see that he's joining as part of a coaching capacity as well. So, yeah, no, excellent news.
Yeah, delighted with it. And then he's back to the Rangers website, like the best fans in the world and stuff. He knows what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, yes, of course, JD, you're just the most tremendous man in the world. But he won't only help strikers. I think he'll help the entire team. The guy with that sort of experience, and he's obviously got a very close relationship with Gerrard, so it made perfect sense to keep him on, and especially as a coach. I think the player coach is only a year the contract's worth, but I mean, if things go well and Gerrard especially decides to stay, I'm not going to say that Gerrard's going to take Defoe away with him when Gerrard goes, but if we can keep Defoe on to train our next kind of generation of strikers and whatever coming through, then it's only really a positive. So delighted with that. So move on to our second bit, lads. Greg Stewart and Zungu have left the club. If you listen really closely, you can still hear wee Callum Nimmo, friend of the pod. He's still crying his eyes out right now that Greg Stewart's left, because he voted for Greg Stewart to be his player of the year. So sorry, Callum. Get better soon, mate. I hope you're feeling okay. Scotia, I'll come to you first, mate. I think we all expected it. Look, I love Greg Stewart as much as the next guy, but he's just not quite good enough. But him and Zungu did contribute, and they will be remembered as being part of the 55 team. But I think we all expected this news.
Yeah, well, it wasn't surprising at all. It was they were the two that you kind of expected would be let go, or we definitely wouldn't win for Zungu from what we've seen on him. Stewart surprised me. He's actually had a lot more appearances than I can recall. I think he's up in the sort of 30, 35 appearances mark, which is a lot more than I can remember. He's never really been given a consistent run in the team to get going, and sort of times that he has been in, we'd played poorly. But yeah, as you say, nothing against Greg Stewart. Really like him as a player. He probably walks into any other team in Scotland apart from us and Celtic, to be honest. So all the best to him when he goes. And Zungu, I had quite high hopes for Zungu, but it just never. I think the performances that Kamara and Davis were putting in sort of negated him getting in the team, and he was coming in to kind of cover at the end of tight games, and he helped out massively for that. But again, similar to Stewart, he didn't really get much run in the team, and I wasn't surprised when he went. And I don't think the COVID breach thing helped massively. I think it certainly soured, in the immediate aftermath of it, certainly soured a lot of the fans' thoughts to it, although more's come out about maybe the circumstances weren't as bad as initially people assumed, but I don't think that helped much in his regards, because I think it was about, is it 2.7 million euros I think we had
something like that,
to buy him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't surprising. We need better quality than that in the middle of the park going into Champions League next season.
Yeah, 100% agree, mate. Jamie, I'll come to you. As I said, Greg Stewart, you can't blame him for his effort. You can't blame him for enjoying his title party the way he did. I've got absolutely nothing against him. Zungu, I think we all were a wee bit excited by him. Was it Falkirk that we played when he came on in the cup? And his first pass was like a 30-yard pass straight to the feet. But we're like, where's this guy came from? But I mean, it's not news we can be shocked by.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you've made, Scotia, as in you probably, again, at the start of the season, you'd think of those two players as being squad players. And if we're aiming on having an even stronger season next year, competing in both Champions League as well as hopefully making some moves within the domestic trophies. So I think it's those type of areas in the squad overall we're looking to strengthen. So no real surprise that they've moved on. Again, thank them very much for their contribution. Hopefully for Greg Stewart, it gets a good move. I think, like you said, a lot of ability. So yeah, all the best to both.
Yeah, Ali, I don't think we'll probably hear anything of Zungu ever again, but I would imagine that Greg Stewart's probably going to stay in Scotland, and I think he could probably walk into any other team bar Rangers and Celtic.
I thought he was a decent player, Greg Stewart. But that was about it, to be honest. He was decent. Where we want to go to and where we want to be, he's not good enough to be at Rangers. That's probably the bottom line, to be honest. He's a Rangers fan. He's won a championship with Rangers. He's contributed. So, yeah, he can go away with his head held high. I thought he was a good player, Greg Stewart. When I seen him, we'd seen him in lots of cameos. I know Scotia read the stats of how many games he's played, but a lot of them are off the bench. We've seen him in cameos. He's looked decent, but fair play. I mean, he'll move on. He's 31. I could see him going to somewhere like to be honest, anyone in Scotland apart from Celtic, as Scotia mentioned, so we could probably walk in somewhere there. He's played previously at Kilmarnock and Aberdeen, so he may as well tick another couple of clubs off. Like he go to Hearts or something. But yeah, fair play. On Zungu, like you say, that game we seen when he was pinging balls about, you thought, oh, he's a player here. He damaged himself in terms of the COVID-5, if you want to call him. Once he did that, it was game over for him. I thought he was neat and tidy, but again, he's not at the level I think we need going forward for Rangers at the moment. So, yeah, good luck to him, but he's just not good enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything any of you have said, really. But you can't really dislike a guy for lack of ability in terms of Greg Stewart. He just wasn't quite the standard that we needed, or we need going forward. And as I said, Zungu was just a bit of a flop, really. It just didn't really ever seem to work. I know he didn't get a lot of chance to get a good run in the team. Obviously, he was trying to compete with Davis and Kamara, who were miles and miles and miles ahead of him. So, but yeah, I mean, good luck to both. Good luck to Greg Stewart. Hopefully, we see him back at Ibrox next season. Obviously, just won't be in a Rangers top. So we'll move on to the SPFL kind of team of the year that was announced. So McGregor, Tav, Goldson, Davis, Kent and Morelos all make the team. However, and what will be no surprise to anyone, that Scotland's greatest ever player to grace the game in Neil Lennon's inverted commas, David Turnbull, makes it ahead of Kamara. Jamie, we can't be shocked by this, really, that they have to at least pick one Celtic midfielder.
Yeah. Edward's in there as well, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, not too surprised to see. I guess you can justify I think there's a St Johnstone centre half from memory.
Yeah. Doidge at left back.
No.
Doidge at left back.
That's right. I agree with that. To be fair, he is a good player, Doidge. But no, not overly surprised to see Turnbull in there. He is a good player, but again, has he merited a place in the team of the year? I don't think so.
100% not for me. He's not played 90 minutes of football. He's not played a full 90 minutes, I don't think, in a Celtic midfield that was made out of paper mache this season. I think it's pretty ridiculous that they put David Turnbull in at Ali. You've seen the full team. Are you in agreement that David Turnbull and probably shouldn't be there? And see, in all honesty, Edouard probably shouldn't be there either.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having a bit of a laugh on this show for months about David Turnbull, the best midfielder in Scotland, but that's the press up here. They've been building him up to be this world beater. He's a decent player, David Turnbull. I'm not going to slag that. He's a decent football player, but he looked decent in an extremely poor Celtic team last season. I don't think any of their players should be in the 11 of the team of the season from a team that finished second, but 25 points behind Rangers. So doesn't shock me he's in there. They've always got to put one in. Edouard, for me, good player. Edouard is a very good player, but he down tools this season. Wasn't interested. So yeah. And the boy is Doig, I think Doig is the one up front for Hibs. Yeah. Christian Doig is
fuck.
Doig.
I've got the same bloody name, man.
There's that many, but no, the boy Doig at left back. You could say Barisic should be in there, but I wouldn't argue with the boy Doig. I think he's a good talent coming through. Celtic or Rangers will one of them have a wee go at him to try and get him from Hibs. They'll probably want decent money for him. So yeah, can't argue with that. And the boy St Johnson as well. Again, they can't argue with that. So the two Celtic players, and it might sound better because we're a Rangers podcast, but they shouldn't be in that team. No chance.
No, they shouldn't be. In my opinion, I think Kamar Roof could feel very hard done by the fact that Edwards made it in over him. Scotia, your thoughts on the SPFL team of the year?
I'm not really bothered by it, to be honest. I know the SPFL do their team of the week like all through the season, and the way they operate that is they only pick one player from every team. So you often see a lot of people grumbling on Twitter after that there's only one Rangers player in it, but the way they do it, it's like that. I was really surprised Edouard was in it, to be honest. I don't think he's kicked his own arse really this season, although I can't say that I've watched a massive amount of Celtic. Occasionally watch them if they're on Sky and whatnot. Okay, it is what it is. I've not really got any complaints. Barisic probably deserves to be in there ahead of Doig, but Doig, as you've all mentioned, has had a really good season. I really like him. He's a player that I think we should be looking at, to be honest. The Euros are just about to start, and yeah, Barisic turns up well, could be away, so you'd like to think there's a wee bit of future planning there, because I know obviously we've got Bassey, but Doig would be a player I'd be looking at, because you don't want to fall into the situation Celtic got with McGinn, that he's now unaffordable to them when they could have got him for like 3 million a couple of years ago. But I've not really got much to say about the SPFL team, to be honest.
No, it's just one of them things that you're just like, it's just the typical old same old kind of SFA Scottish media thing. You've just got to be like, all right, okay, like we might as well try and shoehorn a few Celtic players in there just to clear them. But in terms of everybody else, it was in it well merited. Boyle, possibly, I don't know. I didn't see too much of him, to be completely honest. But I agree with what you say about the Doig. Is that it? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Doig, that's the one that plays left back. So yeah, I'm not too shocked at him. I think Rangers probably, I would like to think they're probably maybe having a look at him, because as you just mentioned, Scores, there's a chance Barisic could be free off depending on how his Euros go. But yeah, well, congratulations to everybody that go into it, especially the Rangers players. So just the last bit of news before, it's not really news, really, it's just a kind of to point you in a direction of something that me and Ali have had the chance to listen to, is Ali McCoist and Gazza back together again on TalkSport. If you haven't already, I would urge you all to go and give this a listen. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. There's a lot of adverts the whole way through it, to be completely honest, but in terms of some of the stories they were talking about, it was great. Ali, what did you make of it?
Yeah, no, it was good. I knew this was coming because TalkSport put a wee snippet out early in the week, so I knew it was coming, but it was it was good. So I was in a gym last night and put it on for, it was an hour's episode, so I thought it's decent listening to it, but no, good stories. The two of them together are brilliant. And they talk about Rangers. I mean, it's only a small amount about Rangers. You really want to listen to just the stories about Rangers deep down, to be honest. But all the stories are decent. I don't know if it's just a one-off or if they're going to do a few other ones with them, because it would be good, because they've got that much stories between them. It's unbelievable how many stories they've got. And like you said, the Rangers part of it was maybe 5-10 minutes long, but it was good. It was good seeing the two of them back together and talking.
Yeah, I think even the bit where he spoke about that goal, the second goal against Aberdeen, he actually got emotional when he was talking about it, Gazza. He actually got emotional, which kind of caught me as well. I was like, oh. But I think it's just so good to hear Gazza sounding so well. He really did. I know, obviously, it's an audio podcast. I don't know if they're going to release a video or not, or even if it's on YouTube. I listened to it as audio. But he sounded well. Do you know what I mean? He sounded like he was kind of back on form. His speech was really, really good, and it was brilliant to listen to. You could listen to they two talk all day. You actually could. They could have their own series that would run forever and ever. But yeah, I would urge everybody to go and check it out. It is on TalkSport. So we'll move on to our Q&A. So I put out a post just to get a few listeners to ask a few questions. Could have been about anything. Could have been about Ali's terrible music choice, but no one's actually asked a question about that, which is kind of baffling, to be honest.
Maybe they think it's decent then.
No, they don't. No, they don't, mate. they definitely don't. But we'll jump to our first question. We probably should, mate. I have asked them about it a lot, mate, to be honest. Some of the songs, like if sitting with a few beers with them and you stick on YouTube and that after the beer starts to take effect, and I'm like, what are you putting on? Wet. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, all right, mate, all right. But I know that's a whole podcast in itself, but that's probably a whole series in itself, just talking about Ali's music taste. But we'll jump into the questions. So first question is from Bob Carney. Yes, that is my dad. Thank you very much, Dad, for getting involved and leaving a comment. So the old man says, what are the thoughts of us getting back to the full house stadium next season? Will we retain our league championships, and do we think a domestic trophy will be a necessary addition to complete our dominance of Scottish football? A good run in the Champions League would be nice as well. So Ali, I'll come to you first. It's a hard one to answer in terms of how we're going to get back into stadiums and what it's going to be like, especially with the kind of rules that are flying about. Maybe mid-season, maybe a full house.
I honestly think we'll possibly need 2 vaccinations to get back in properly. I think that's what they're aiming for, the government at the moment. We're not too far away from 2 vaccinations. I know we've all had our first vaccination, so hopefully we should get our second one August sometime, I'd imagine. It'll be interesting to see. Scotia's obviously away to Scotland, Czech Republic on Monday. The game's a 2:00 kickoff. I think Scotia's to be in there at 5 a.m. Sit there for a bit. Not
far off.
But I mean, we'll come to Scotia. Scotia will tell us about that one, but it'll be interesting to see and hear Scotia's experience about how that runs and how it went in terms of 12,500 fans. We've got a couple of friendlies coming up in July. I fully expect Rangers to have, possibly like Scotia-Scotland game, 12,000 fans in Ibrox for these games to build up to the first game of the season, which I would hope would be round about half attendance. But in terms of a full attendance, I think you're talking the tail end of the year. October, I think. October, November, if I had to pick months, but you don't know with the Scottish government at the moment. It could be it could be anything, to be honest.
Yeah. Scotia, are you I'm confused at how you're going to last that long inside Hampden with nothing to do.
Can't even drink.
I was thinking about it. I need to. We got our sort of slots that we need to be in the stadium for, and they hit us with the 11 to half 11 in the morning, 2:00 kickoff. I think the last time I was in a stadium that long before a kickoff would have been when I was at the qualifiers for France '98, nearly 20 years ago. It's more than 20 years ago. I don't know what we're going to do. I think I've been really busy with work recently, so I've not caught up with all the ins and outs, but I know there's talk about maybe needing to provide a proof of vaccination, the 2 doses of vaccination, or proof of a negative test within X amount of hours of the kickoff. I know that's what's happening down in Wembley. Potentially going to happen up at Hampden as well, but they're leaving it pretty late, to be honest. All the sort of kiosks and stuff will be shut, as far as I'm aware. So there's talk about bringing in your own snack, and they'll provide you with your own water, or they'll provide you with some water or something like that. It's going to be a strange one, to be honest. And so
it sounds bloody horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really, really excited to get back to football. I mean, that's over a year now. And getting back to actually watch a game live will be tremendous. The fact that it'll be like the first time I'll have seen Scotland live in a major tournament. Again, something that I've always wanted to do. So delighted for it. The circumstances around it aren't ideal, so we'll just need to see how it goes, and I can give you an update once I've experienced it all.
You should film it, mate. You should film it, and we'll get it up on it and see what it's like. What it would be like. That's true. UEFA will not let you.
You'll probably take my phone away or something. Need to see how it goes. In terms of Rangers, I was getting back to watch Rangers. Obviously, it's a bit further down the line. I know there's an awful lot of concern that as soon as that last 16 game gets played at Hampden, and perhaps once the fan zones in Glasgow Green's finished, there's a big fear by a lot of people that Glasgow will move back up a level. That's the big worry. It's too difficult to say at the moment. You'd like to think we would get back in, but
it's very difficult, mate. I fully expect. Call me was it a pessimist? Is that what you call it? I fully expect as soon as the Euros are done and Scotland are out or not out, whatever. I think Nicola Sturgeon will immediately just put Glasgow back to level 3. I think that's in the pipeline. I think that's what it's going to be all along, which kind of confuses me why we're all bother getting vaccinated if we can't do anything. But again, we're not here to talk politics. Jamie, we've obviously spoke. Your slight thoughts on when you think it's going to be a full stadium, and then we'll obviously move on to the rest of the question. Will we retain our league championship, and will we add the league or the Scottish Cup?
It's really hard to say, hard to tell. I know we've spoke about obviously the upcoming Scotland game. Be interesting to get Scotia's take on how that progresses and what it looks like. All I can say is just imagine being back in the stadium. I know we've been into Argyle House for lunch recently, and we've been in and around the stadium, maybe visited the club shop, but getting back into a match day is just going to be incredible. No idea what that looks like, but can't wait for the opportunity to get back in. On success, and I think there's a bit there about Champions League as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, a good Champions League run.
I mean, I think we've spoken previous pods about the actual qualification. So qualification is going to be difficult, and Champions League is definitely going to be a bonus. I think, retaining the league is definitely the most important thing this year. Adding a form of domestic cup is going to be really important as well. I think going back to the point about Greg Stewart and Zungu, it's going to be interesting to see those changes to the squad, who it is we're going to bring in those positions, and how we strengthen further. But yeah, as I say, Champions League, I see that as a bonus. It's really, really important to get the finances in. This is going to be the next level up.
100%, mate. I completely agree. So, Ali, in one word, will we retain the league championship next year?
Yes.
Scotia?
We will.
Jamie?
That's two, sorry.
Yes.
Yes, that's 4 yeses. Yes, I think we're all relatively confident of that. Considering
what's massive for that as well?
What?
Sorry, I was going to say what's massive for that as well. Whoever wins the league next season is guaranteed Champions League group football the next season.
There you go.
That's
Scotia's good for things like this, isn't he? Because he thinks of the future.
That's in the spreadsheet.
That will be on the spreadsheet, guaranteed. But thanks very much, Dad, for asking us a question. That was very nice of you. We'll move on to the next question, and it's from David Bradford. Cheers, David. Gents, can we discuss what you consider to be success for next season? Retaining our title is a given, but I'm curious to hear if you'd sacrifice a run in Europe, assuming we qualify naturally, as that's very much required for the club's continued financial growth, for a cup win or vice versa. Scotia, what do you make of that?
What would I consider success? I think we've spoken previously. We probably do need one of the cups next season to kind of cement that. We've been terrible in the cups under Gerrard. But I don't know if I'd sacrifice a run in Europe. I come at this slightly differently, that I place Europe a bit higher in terms of getting a run. If we get into the Champions League group stages, success in that for me would be to ideally finish third in the group, knock into the knockout rounds of the Europa. But that's asking a lot. You know, it all depends who you get drawn with. But if we don't get into the Champions League group stages, then, you know, we drop into the Europa League. I think we probably would want the same as this season and a cup on top of that, if I'm being honest. So I'm not asking much, am I?
No, not at all. I would tend to agree with that. I think a double in terms of the league and a cup is not critical, but I think that's the minimum that Gerrard should really be aiming for. We've not done very well in cups under Gerrard, so I think his biggest aim will be winning at least one of them. I really would love Rangers to win a treble next year, but if we manage to, as you just said, if we manage to win a double, get into the Champions League group stages, anything else after that for me in Europe is probably a bonus. I mean, we're probably not going to get out of the group stage, but maybe drop into Europa League and have a bit of a run at that as well. I think I would consider that a success. So success in Europe would be third place in the group and then Europa League, and then domestically a league and cup double at least. Jamie, what's your thoughts, mate?
Totally agree. League retention's number one. Domestic cup, I'd really like to see us add at least one of those this year. So I agree with that. A double would be nice. And like we've said, Champions League is just another level up. Done really well. We've actually feels like we've got a reputation back in Europe. Done really well in some of the group stages and thereafter over the past couple of years. So again, like to see us strengthen and really go for it this year in Europe. We know the money's good for us there, so I think success, I would deem that as, again, league retention, add a cup, and go as far as we can in Europe. But it's an added bonus for me.
Yep. Ali?
Yeah, league's priority, which we mentioned on your dad's question. But in terms of Europe and cups, we need to win a cup. But if I'm the Rangers board and I've got the choice between winning a cup next season or getting into the group stage of the Champions League, I'm telling Steven Gerrard Champions League, because that's you're guaranteeing potentially £30 to £40 million. If you win a Scottish Cup, yeah, it's silverware, or a League Cup, in terms of monetary value, it's nothing. That getting into the group stages of Champions League, like I say, £30-40 million, that's us not having to lose a player. That's us adding onto the squad to build even more for the future. So if it was in terms of a choice between, if that's what Davidson, between the two, between Europe or cup success for next season, I would choose getting into the group stages and sacrificing 2 cups next year, just because of the financial reason.
It makes sense, mate, to be honest. I think I'm just a bit greedy. Probably in the same lines of what Scotia was going along with that. I want it all, man. I want it all. I want a treble. I want the Europa League. I want it all. But I definitely think the league is just the priority. As I say, we don't know what's about to happen with the other side of the city and when their crisis is going to come to an end, but the kind of state that they're in just now, I think Rangers really need to put the foot on the neck and absolutely dominate domestic football next season, especially in the league. But thanks very much, David. Thanks for getting involved. So the next 3 questions I've kind of rolled into one because they're all kind of the same and we can kind of pick apart the 3. First of all, that was from Alan Caldecott. Alan Longback Caldecott, I should probably call him. But Alan and his missus have just got engaged. So from all of us here at Club at 22, congratulations, big man. We're all very chuffed for you. Hopefully meet you soon for a pint, mate. But congratulations to you. And from what I've heard anyway, it's well overdue that you've done it, mate. So congratulations to you, mate. But he asked, who do you see signing or potentially selling next season? The next question was from Craig Watt. Cheers, Craigie. What do you see as the most important area to strengthen with regards to Europe, presuming we will speculate to accumulate? And finally, David Russell, he said, who do you fancy in the Champions League, assuming we get group stages? Give us the perfect group scenario. Also, who's the one big money sale in the summer? Realistically, financially, we'll probably need to. So who's your least favourite to leave? So the 3 questions are all kind of the same. So I've kind of broke it down. So first of all, Ali, I'll come to you first. Where do we need to strengthen? And does it differ between strengthening purely for domestic and Europe, or is it the same boat?
I think it comes under both. To be honest, I'd be shocked if we all don't agree in the same position. It's the middle of the park for me all day long. I know I mentioned previously in our podcast a striker, but that's because I forgot about Fashion Sakala, so I apologise. And I actually forgot about Kamara Roof, to be honest, which I always forget about him playing on the right side. So, no, to me, it's the centre of that park. I think we need 2 players in there, definitely. I'd be very surprised if the guys mentioned another position rather than the centre of the midfield. It's got to be that area for us, definitely going forward.
Yeah. Jamie, I'll come to you, mate. What do you think? Where do we need to strengthen? Is it the same for domestically and for Europe?
Yeah, totally agree. It's the main area that you think we are light on at the moment. Mentioned, obviously, Davis, Kamara, but even Arfield picking up his injury, Jack picking up his injury. We are very light in that area. You think about the formation we play, assuming that we're going to, because we play a very similar formation and system, both in Europe and in the league, where we'll play 3 central midfielders. So, yeah, I'd like to see us strengthen. I'd probably agree with that. Two players I know have been linked with John Lundstrom. So it'd be interesting to see who else we bring in. I would agree, though, Ali, I think we still need a striker. Though, again, with that formation, if you think about who we're playing through the middle, you've got Alfie, Ruth, Itten, Defoe. But when it comes to Europe, I know Defoe wasn't included in the squad last year. So do we bring in another striker or someone who can play that number 10? I know you mentioned Sakala.
Sakala, yeah.
Yeah. But again, can he play through the middle?
I think so, yeah. You've also got Wright as well.
Yeah. True. That's true. You forget because again, with him coming in January, but yeah.
Ali, stop just naming every Rangers player. Do you know what I mean?
I'm naming first players.
Calm down.
To be fair, we mentioned left back as well. So again, there's a number of players. I know we're breaking this down, Scott, but one of the things we touched on there, or I think it was maybe David that mentioned a player to lose or that might be sellable. We've got a number of players that are going to be in this short window over the next coming weeks with Euros, with Barisic, Kamara, Helander, Patterson. Any one of those could go, and you think, well, they'd be a big miss. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks.
Yeah, Scotia, will you go along the lines of that?
Yeah, midfield's massive. Yeah, as Jamie was just saying there, it's all kind of predicated on who goes out the door. But I think midfield for me has always been the big one, and as well at the moment, what Kamara's got is it 3-match suspension for the qualifying games, so he'll miss
3 match.
At least the first one, and then one of the if we get through to the next, getting it through to the next one of the Champions League, he'll miss that as well. So midfield's massively important. I think I thought that last season. I think that this season potentially could do with another striker, but that's probably me being greedy again. But one that I'm concerned about is Goldson's still not signed his contract extension. So I've just got something in the back of my mind that he's back. He's played a massive part in this team. He's came from having very serious health issues to playing for us constantly the last couple of seasons. He's probably at a stage in his career where he's thinking, I could maybe get a move back down south. And he's not signed that contract extension yet, so I'm slightly concerned at that at the moment. But I don't know. I think he just got engaged recently as well, didn't he? So
I get married.
he's
No, I
too
get
busy
married.
dealing with that. Oh, was it married? Was it married? He's
married.
probably too busy enjoying that at the moment to maybe think about it. But it does give me a wee bit of concern that that's not been wrapped up yet.
The only bit of comfort I take from Goldson not signing his new deal yet is that Defoe's one kind of came out of nowhere. There was no real rumour that it was actually being discussed or that talks had opened yet. So I'm hoping Rangers are doing their business quietly. I'll be gutted if Goldson decides to leave. I'm not going to lie. I think I'd be devastated if he chose to not sign a new contract. I'd be shocked as well with Champions League. I really would be. I really would. But in terms of, we just got to keep our fingers crossed with that, really. I say we don't really know much. But in terms of strengthening, there's nothing I can really disagree with what you boys have said. So I think left back's the only one. Jimmy, you mentioned that left back's the only one. If Barisic does have a stormer, then we need a proper left back again, and they're quite hard to find, as we know. So I think that's the only other area that our Rangers should probably have to really keep an eye on. But we'll move on to the next bit I've kind of broke down. Scott, I'll come to you first. This is harsh, mate. I know this, but who would you sell, or who do you think would be sold, and who is your least favourite? And obviously to sell. I know we love them all, right? See, before we get into this question, I love every single one of them. But if you had to pick one that you would sell, who would it be?
I think this is because they're playing at the Euros, and I think they'll be our biggest sellable assets. They'll command the highest fee, we'll get most money back from it, and it would be Kamara and Barisic. And I would, as you say, I would hate for either of them to go, but I think they have got the potential to get us the biggest return for our money, and it's in areas that I think we're probably looking at strengthening anyway, so we've probably got quite a good list of potential replacements for them, as I imagine we probably do in all positions, to be honest. But I think it would be one of them two for me, potentially Helander as well.
Yeah,
but again, it's all the Euro players, really, I think.
Yeah, I definitely, mate. I think that's the ones that are probably going to be. Ali, if you had to pick one, who would it be?
To go, similar to Scotia, to be honest, I think it's Kamara. I've said previously, there's players I think if we lose, we can't replace. Kamara, I think we can replace him with somebody in the middle of the park. I think he's a fantastic player, Kamara. I just think, as Scotia says, he could have a stormer in the Euros. His value will just shoot up, and the offers will be too good to turn down. We need to sell somebody this season, so somebody needs to go. And I just think Kamara is somebody we could replace. And the other side of the question, somebody that we couldn't replace and I wouldn't let go is Ryan Kent. We cannot let Ryan Kent go. I give him whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. If he wants more snakes, more crocodiles, whatever he wants, give him that. I don't care. But we cannot replace Ryan Kent. He's the one guy in the team we can't replace. I'm sorry.
I 100% agree, mate. You kind of ruined the last question that I was going to come to you with, that I was going to ask myself, mate, but we can speak about it now as well. I'm the same, mate. There's one guy in that team we cannot replace, and it's Ryan Kent. I heard Brian Laudrup's interview when he was promoting his new wine. And he mentioned as well that if he was Rangers, he would do everything he could to try and keep Ryan Kent at the club. There is rumours that there's quite a big money offer, big money contract going to get offered to him to try and kind of lure him to stay here. I don't know if he needs to be lured to stay here. I think it's if the club gets made an offer that we literally can't refuse, then he's going to leave. Because I mean, yeah, but that's what we're going to have to do. But I think it would need to be stupid money, absolutely ridiculous money for Ryan Kent to leave. If I had to pick one to leave, man, it's hard. I love every single one of them, but it's probably Kamara, because I think the business behind it, the 50 grand, man, you signed him for. Do you know what I mean? You're going to sell him for a lot more than that. I would hate to see Kamara leaving as well. I would hate to see most of them leave. The only one I'm not bothered about leaving Brandon Barker, but fingers crossed. But in terms of Kamara, I would be absolutely gutted if he left. But I think it's probably between him and Barisic, possibly Morelos as well. If we get a big money offer for him, Jamie, what do you think? If you had to sell one, who would it be?
So it's a really difficult one to answer. But I think if we're talking about those sellable assets, is Helander? I don't know. Is someone going to come in for him at his age? I don't know. But it probably would be Kamara as well. I think going back to your point, it probably makes the most business sense. I think if he goes and has a good Euros, he probably will command quite a big fee. So it might be Kamara, although I'd hate to see him go because he's been such an excellent signing for us. On the other point,
sorry, Jimmy.
on who? No, sorry, I was going to say another point of who I wouldn't like to leave. Probably a toss up between Kent, Goldson, and Alfie.
Yeah, I'm not shocked that you picked Alfie because your dog's named Alfie, mate. But that's absolutely fair enough. But I think I know. So damn it, I absolutely love the guy. I've got him up my wall. But I would hate to see any of them leave. It's going to be difficult when they decide to leave, but it is going to need to happen, which is a real shame. But they will be forever remembered for being part of the team that brought us 55. So you can't really ask for much more than that. So finally, move on to just David Russell's part of his first part of his question. Assuming we get to the group stages, give us your perfect group scenario. I'll go first for this. I want the biggest possible teams you can imagine to be in our group because I want to get back to Ibrox and have Ibrox absolutely rocking with the biggest team that you could possibly imagine and absolutely rip the roof off the place. I think if we get to the group stages, we've already pretty much achieved what we were looking to do in terms of revenue from Europe. I think it would be a great achievement if we do manage to get to the group stages, especially Gerrard's first crack at it, Champions League. I would be absolutely delighted. But yeah, I'm all for the. I know I want Rangers to win. I want Rangers to progress. But realistically, how far are we going to get in the Champions League? So give me the biggest names possible. Ali, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm the exact same. If we get there, I want an English team. I'm desperate for I want an English team the last couple of seasons in Europa League. So yeah, I'd like the top seeds, pot one. Give me an English team, anyone. I'd take anyone. I would say the standard between the Europa League and the Champions League isn't as massive as it used to be. If you take the premium teams out, if you want to call it, your Real Madrid's, Barcelona's, all that, the rest of them, your kind of pot threes, pot fours, they're all round about the same, to be honest. So you could get lucky and get a kind of decent draw where you might possibly get out of. But no, I'm the same. Give me the biggest teams we can get. Just that's all I want. But an English team, that's the one I want.
Yeah, Jamie, your thoughts?
I was exactly the same. Europa League, I was paying for an Arsenal, a Tottenham, and Man U last year. It's obviously slightly different. You're looking at it in a different sense because of obviously the restrictions at the moment. So we can't get to Ibrox or we can't travel to away fixtures. So difficult one to answer apart from just exactly the same way that you have, and that you just want the biggest teams, the biggest draw, and the biggest challenge. But then on the other hand, would you prefer the option or the possibility of actually progressing, qualifying and getting into the latter stages?
It's a tough one, mate. It's tough. But I just want the glory ties, mate. Do you know what I mean? I just want I want that. I don't know, Man City or something at Ibrox. I mean, imagine that. It would just be ridiculous. It really would be unbelievable. Scotia, final word to you, mate. What's your thoughts on the group stages? You all for the easiness of just getting through, or bring it on to anybody?
To be honest, I've not looked at the permutations of who we could potentially be facing, what the pot seeds are like. But I think in terms of a team that I really, really want, Real Madrid, without a shadow of a doubt. And it would be typical that we would get Real Madrid next season when not everyone can get to Ibrox, when no one can go to the Bernabeu. because Real Madrid's been one of these teams. Every time we've been in the Champions League, I've wanted Real Madrid. I think 1963 was the last time we played them in European competition. So those would be a team that I would absolutely love, and it'd be sod's law that we would get them when we can't enjoy it to its fullest. But I think I would like to get, depending where we are, I would like to get, your pot 3, or if we're in, I don't think we will be in pot 3 ourselves. So you would want your kind of easiest team from the pot 3 seeds, so that it gives us a better chance of finishing in third place. Because I think second place in the Champions League group stages next season is just beyond us at the moment, and that's a couple of years away yet, I would say. So I would like to get a really big team from pot 1, and then a favourable team from the pot 3 or pot 4, so that we've got a good chance of qualifying or dropping into Europa League.
Yeah, much more rational thought behind it all than me just going, give me the biggest team in the world, I want to play them, I just want to beat them. It was definitely more rational than my answer, for sure. But that's us. That's us at the end. Thank you to everybody that got involved with that. I really do enjoy when you ask questions and you want to get involved. We really do love answering your questions. But that'll do us for tonight. Slightly longer tonight, gentlemen. Ali, as always, mate, thank you very much for your time. And we've managed to make it through this new thing I'm using to record the video without breaking anything. So, yeah, I'm happy enough for that.
Yeah, it's good. I'd like to also say, while we've been actually live, the Green Brigade have come out with banner 105 today, which is brilliant. They had a go at Jim's dad last night from American Pie, which was a bit awful. But I don't know who they've got in banner 105 today, but it's brilliant. I don't know why they're doing these banners, because Big Ange is coming. So I don't know why they're counting down to him with all these banners. So, but it's good to watch. I
don't think they've confirmed it, though. I think that's what they're thrilling their knickers about, because they all went mental after his team get put out by a car manufacturer or something like that in their cup or something like that, didn't they? So they all went off their nut on that. Kerrydale was a good laugh, to be honest. It was good to listen to. And then their goalkeeper scored a penalty as well, which is tremendous. I mean, this is brilliant. I can't wait for all this to happen. I really can't. It's just, I could do podcasts on it, honestly. But anyway, Ali, thanks very much, mate.
No problem. I'll speak to you again.
Scotia, thank you very much, mate.
Cheers. I've just seen a belt or one on Twitter there as well, where it's just the black banner with help written on it.
It's just getting better. Honestly, it's just incredible to watch. You can't not laugh at it. Honestly, couldn't make it up. Jamie, thank you very much again, mate.
Thank you for having me, boys.
So, shameless plug, everybody. But if you don't subscribe to us on YouTube, and actually, if you don't subscribe to us on YouTube and you're just listening, come over and check out our new bit of tech that we're using. Give the page a wee follow, a wee subscribe, and like the videos. Give us a wee 5-star rating on Apple Podcast. Leave a comment and share any that you can. It really does help support us and makes a huge difference. Again, thank you to everybody that got involved with the questions. We genuinely do love doing that. So that'll do us for today, gentlemen. We'll speak to you all next time. We are Club at 22, the Champions Podcast. Cheers.
I might be better off without you. There's too many people around you, and all these vultures that surround you, they don't know a thing about you. You're so gorgeous, 'cause you make me feel gorgeous.